Okay, now we're going to kind of go over setting up your GS2 for documentation and swath control to work on your planner. I'm going to come down here, and most everything we're going to set up is going to be in the Greenstar 2 Pro. Okay, we're going to come in first and set up our machine and implement, which is here at letter H, the picture of the tractor with the implement. And it's got tractor grayed out here. Can't change that because it knows we're in a tractor. Machine model, we're just going to do 8030, which we've already loaded on with Apex, and 8030 again for machine name. Now it's already got these measurements loaded in here of 71 inches and 46.9 inches. If we didn't have measurements loaded in here from the computer, we could come in here to this change offsets, and we could take the measurements we need to take with just a tape measure and enter them in. The main ones are going to be this letter B, which is just the distance from the rear axle to the receiver, and then from the rear axle to the drawbar would be letter C. So here's our two measurements. We've already got them in there, and we've got our tractor set up. This is all we'll have to do here on the tractor page. We're going to come to Implement 1, Implement Type Planner. It's already seeing that it's on a planner. We're going to come in here to 1770 NT and 24030. And once again, we've already got our measurements in here, but for swath control to work correctly, it's going to be very important for you to come in here and either take the measurements on your own or use the ones that are imported from Apex. A lot of times, even the ones that are imported from Apex, we'll go ahead and double check when we're actually in the tractor to be sure that these are set up correctly. And like I said, this is what determines where your row clutches are going to shut on and off, so it's absolutely important you've got something in here and that they're correct. Okay, down here you can see, we've already got our implement width and track spacing in here both at 60 feet. If we needed to change those, we come to change widths, and we can change our track spacing right here. Implement width is grayed out because it knows it's got a 24-row planter on it, so it's automatically going to be 60 feet. All these little 5.0s and these little boxes, those just correspond to our row command sections. Okay, so we've got our machine and our implement set up. Next we're going to come in and set up our client, farm, and field for our documentation. So we're going to come in here to client, Sloan implement, farm, Sloan implement, and field is just north 40. Okay, right here our task is going to be planting. Okay, so we've got that all filled out. Next thing we're going to have to set up is right here at letter I. This is where we're going to set up our variety. So we're going to come to change seed settings. Okay, we're planting corn. Configuration single variety. This is if we were doing a split planter where we're planting 12 rows of one variety and 12 rows of another. So we're just going to do a single variety though here. Application method and tillage practice aren't necessary to put in. Next thing we're going to come to here is brand, and we're going to do Pioneer. And variety is just 33N08. And these rate units and target rates are grayed out because they're going to come from the planner controller. Okay, so we've got our variety all filled out here, which was letter I. We've got our client, farm, field set up, our machine set up. Next thing we're going to set up is our AutoTrac, which is at letter B. Okay, first thing you're going to see is guidance off down here in the bottom left. Come up to guidance settings and just turn that on to straight track. Okay, and we're also going to do these shift track settings. Just be sure that you're set on small shifts, and that basically, whenever you come back here, you can see your shifts are on. They're not grayed out anymore, and you can see that 2.0 inches here means that every time you'd hit this, it'd just shift your AB line 2 inches to the right. This one here is going to mean that you're basically just pull your tractor up to where your marker was. Say if there was a drift overnight, and hit that, and that's just going to center your line on the tractor where you sit at the present time. The only other thing you might need to double check and make sure of is your mapping page. And the thing you're going to want to do here is come into these map settings and just be sure you're on coverage only here. So that's going to color you in with a blue picture behind you as you're planning, and that way you can see where you've been and also where your row command sections are going to be turning on and off. So you come back home then. We've got our AutoTrac, our client farm and field all shown up here, and we're going to go to set track 0 to set up our AB line for AutoTrac. And just remember, you're always going to have to put some type of a name in there in the GS2 for AutoTrac to work and for you to set up an AB line. If you come into new, you just type in new line, anything you want to name it, it's going to be associated with that field from here on out. Okay, method is A plus B. Most all the time in a planner we're going to use the method of A plus B, meaning that you're going to set an A point at one end of the field, drive to the other end of the field, set a B point, and that's going to define your AB line. With a field cultivator or a chisel or something like that, a lot of times we'll do A plus heading, meaning that basically you just set a point at one end of the field and tell it an angle you want it to go. So we'd leave it on A plus B here, and basically we'd hit that set A, drive to the other end of the field, set B, and that'd define our AB line for that field. Come back to the home page. We'd then be able to turn our steering on right here and then just hit our resume button in our tractor. So that's pretty much just setting up your GS2 for your AMS functions in your tractor with your planner for this spring.